Rookie Hunter is proudly brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation. If you'd like to join their mission to put and keep wild sheep on the mountain, you can go to wildsheepfoundation.org, become a member, renew your membership, or become a lifetime member. You can even get yourself some badass WSF merch. All of that can be found at wildsheepfoundation.org. And while you're there, check out Sheep Fever, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Foundation. Rookie Hunter stayed connected all season long with Zoleo. If you're in the market for a new satellite communicator, go to Zoleo.com, that's Zoleo.com, and get yourself a satellite communicator you can rely on. And of course, we're partnered with our friends at North Arm Knives. The spring season will be here before you know it, so head over to northarmknives.com and get yourself a blade. Hey guys, welcome to episode 175. Nice to be keeping things regular here lately. It's always the goal, but it never seems to happen, but we're doing it. So far, so good. We're having a lot of fun with these topic-specific episodes, and we started labeling them all as field guides. So we're taking one specific topic and covering it, typically shorter episodes. When it's a couple of us, we're obviously going to go longer. But I'm going solo on this one, and I think it's only about 20 to 30 minutes or something like that. So they're quick. They're just an overview. They're not too in-depth. But we're hoping that these will give people a really good starting place who are new to hunting and outdoor pursuits. And we really want these to be geared towards our core audience, which is rookie hunters, new people. There's always going to be new hunters. We hear from them all the time. So we want the Rookie Hunter podcast to be a place where people can continue to come and learn and not feel intimidated. There aren't too many shows like this, so we want to stick to the original core message of the show. So this episode is all about your first backcountry backpacking trip, and I left hunting out of the equation on that for a reason, because I don't think you should add hunting to your backpacking trip just yet if you've never done it before. There's so much to learn, so much gear to familiarize yourself with, and you got to figure out if you are prepared for it, if you're cut out for it, before you bring harvesting an animal into the equation. Unless you're going out with somebody else who's experienced, I do not recommend it. So make use of the spring and the summer to get familiar with it, to love it, to enjoy it. And that's what this episode is all about. So kick back, relax, crack a nice cold beer, and enjoy episode 175. All right. In the last episode, I said you guys could write in and provide topic suggestions for these shorter DIY type episodes. And we got an email from Sam, and he's getting ready for his first backcountry backpacking trip this year. And he wanted some tips. So I thought I would do a sort of full guide on some things to consider if anybody out there listening is thinking about getting into backpack hunting for the very first time. So my very first time, and I've covered this in previous episodes, and did a full episode. I don't remember what it was called. I'll look it up. But it was the Wandafuka Trail. That might even be the title of the episode. That was the very, very first time that I ever put on a backpack with everything I needed in it to spend time out in the backcountry for, I think it might have been 6 days. And I actually bought my backpack from the Fjallraven store in Vancouver on my way to Vancouver Island. So all of this was very, very new, but it was exciting. It was nerve-wracking. It was all those emotions that you would expect it to be. You're always wondering if you brought enough, if you brought too much. There's something you're going to be missing, if you're going to get lost or injured. I mean, all those things are going to go through people's heads. I went into it fairly comfortable, but I mean, there's the element of unknown, and that's what makes it extra exciting in my mind. One of the things I remember from that trip was, only like a quarter of a kilometer in the trail, I sort of had this interesting realization that everything I needed, my food, my shelter, my water, clothing, all of it was on my back. And it's kind of a cool, freeing feeling when you realize that that's all you need. You've got a home and all of your essentials on your back. And it kind of opened up a realm of possibilities as far as what you feel like you can achieve and where you can go and what you can do. So that first time is, it's like driving a car for the first time. It's exciting. It's new. And it definitely opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So as I mentioned, the trail that I chose to do was the Juan de Fuca Trail. And it's a pretty, some people might call it challenging, but I would look at it as a fairly accessible trail. I don't mean accessible if you're in a wheelchair, but accessible for the first time backpacker. And you can do it. I can't remember. You could rip through it and do it in 4 days if you wanted to. I think we met somebody who was doing it in 3, but I think I landed somewhere around like 6 days, 5 nights, or somewhere along those lines. And I don't think, if you're doing this for pleasure, there's no reason to haul ass through a trail, especially if you're, spending the money to get to somewhere like Vancouver Island and jumping on a ferry and wanting to take in the scenery and enjoy your summer. So that's my first suggestion, is to find a trail that feels doable to you. You got to be realistic about how much hiking you're doing now and how much you can do in a day. I think the breaks between camps on the Juan de Fuca Trail were anywhere from like 6 kilometers to 10 kilometers, so not that much. I say that now as somebody who will hike 30 kilometers in a day sometimes, which is stupid. But it's a nice length that you can set a decent pace. You can take your time. You can stop and have lunch and take in the views and all that kind of stuff. And so do some research on trails that are in your hometown, or something that's within a reasonable driving distance, or whatever feels right for you. But really, really look into the trail and what's available in the camps. If there's anything, is there tables? Is there like tent platforms, water? All of those things are very, very important. So you do need to do a lot of research before you go, and really be prepared for the conditions you're going to be in, and just for whatever unexpected things you should be prepared to expect, if that makes any sense. So doing what I did, like 6 to 5, 6 nights or whatever, you don't have to do that. You can go somewhere close to home and do like a one-nighter, just an overnighter. Do 2 nights. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say do 2 nights, because it's a lot of work to hike in somewhere, set up your camp, get firewood. So you do want a day to just like hang out and enjoy the fruits of your labor, all the hard work you put into getting out there. Otherwise, you're hiking in, you're setting up camp, you're cooking dinner, you're having a fire, and you're going to bed because you're going to be exhausted. The next day, you're going to wake up, make breakfast, pack up your shit, and then you're going to be back out there. So you had no time to really just take it all in. So do a 2-nighter if this is going to be your first time. And I would say, to make it more enjoyable, if you can be flexible with your time, do it in the time of year where you can have some predictable weather, if that's possible. Summertime, if you can look at the forecast and you've got 5 days of sun, perfect. You're not going to have to worry about a shitty experience of being soaking wet and all that kind of stuff. And you might even want to pick a trail that you've hiked before, so that you know what you're getting yourself into. It can be a little intimidating going into something blind. And look at maps. Download offline maps. There's Google Maps will get you where you need to go, but make sure you've got everything downloaded to your phone, so that if you take a wrong turn, or you're just curious where you're at or what's around you, you can look for creeks or ponds to get water from, all those kinds of things. So make sure you really research the maps download them for offline use, and you'll have that in your back pocket. It's not even a bad idea. This is kind of old school, but I know we've done this. Actually, I think I did it on the Wandafuka Trail, was printed off some of the maps and put them into Ziploc bags. So if your phone shits the bed on you and you're not sure where you are or whatever, you're always going to have a backup paper map, and it's not really going to add any weight to your backpack either. So not a bad idea. Your gear essentials, and I'm not going to go too far into this because we're kind of doing episodes, based on each one of these bullet points. But obviously the main thing is going to be your backpack. And if you don't own a backpack right now, it is going to be a bit of an investment. What I would recommend doing is going on Facebook Marketplace, because I'm sure there's a ton of people who thought they were going to be interested in backpacking, bought all the gear, and it's been in their garage for the last 3 years, and they're going to sell it much cheaper than it would be to buy new. And you don't want the same thing to happen to you. So if you're kind of on the fence, you're not sure if this is something you're really going to get into, buy used gear as long as it's clean and it's been looked after. You're not going to have any problems with it, but you really need to know the size of pack frame. So make sure that it's, if you're a female, you're going to want a women's sized pack so that it fits your frame. And obviously if you're a dude, most things are designed for men, which is unfortunate for women, but great for us. So, consider all those things, and you can go somewhere like Mech or REI, depending on where you are, and try on backpacks, get an idea of the size you might want to have and the frame size and how many liters you're going to want. So, I mean, it's always better to have a pack that's, going to be a little bit bigger maybe than what you need, rather than being too small, because you are going to need to pack a lot of gear. My first backpack, as I mentioned, was the Fjallraven Abisko 75, meaning it's a 75 liter pack. Was probably one of the best purchases I've ever made. I still have that pack. It's still in incredible shape all these years later. The only damage it has to it was caused by Air Canada. Shout out to Air Canada. Thanks for that. And now I kind of hand it off to anybody new who wants to come out and try this for the first time. That's the pack I give them, even though I'm a little reluctant to do it because I still love that pack. And I don't always appreciate people sweating all over it, but it's easy enough to clean. So 75, that's what I had for my first backpack. And like I said, it was a good investment. I still have it now. So anywhere in that range, if you're going with a partner, if it's your girlfriend or whatever, hopefully you can carry a little extra weight. She can, be somewhere around a 45 to 60 liter pack or whatever. And, so things to look into. So do some research on the size of pack that you might need. Clothing is something that you can be a little more lax on, especially for your first trip. I mean, obviously you need to know the weather that you're getting into and the season that it is, and be prepared for a little bit of everything. One thing I always pack, doesn't matter if it's summer or winter, when I'm doing extended trips, is merino wool base layers. And sometimes it's just like a nice thing to put on at the end of the day, especially if you got caught in a rainstorm, it's windy and it cooled off. I mean, I was on the Pacific coast, on the west coast of Vancouver Island, so things were, pretty unpredictable there, and we did get rain and cooler temperatures. So you went, when you've been in your shorts and t-shirts sweating your bag off all day long, it's nice to take that stuff off. Hopefully there's a creek or something nearby where you can jump in and sort of clean yourself up, and then put something clean on, like some merino, or, a light pair of shorts or something that you're just wearing that you're not sweating in all day long. Just that nice clean thing that you can jump into at the end of the day. Feels good. But really, you can bring just about anything. They're kind of nerdy, but the pants that you can zip the bottoms off of and turn them into shorts. I have some of those, and I'm not going to lie, it's pretty useful to have a pant that you can convert into a short. And those can be found everywhere. Some of them are less obvious than others, but not a bad idea because you're getting kind of a 2-in-1 situation there. But you definitely want to have, a few options for, a backup, depending on how many days you're going, a couple pairs of shorts, couple pairs of pants. You can get away with one pair of pants because you're going to start filling up your backpack really quick. As much underwear as you think you're going to need, it's surprising. You'll wear them longer than you normally do, which is probably not the best, but you're probably going to use them for a couple of days. And you can always, put them in a creek and wash them out or whatever. So something to consider, but don't go too crazy picking an outfit for every day of the hike because that shit is going to fill up your backpack in a hurry. You are going to want rain gear and decent rain gear. So there's less expensive rain gear. With rain gear, obviously, the more you pay for it, the better it's going to be, and the more resistance to water it's going to have. So if you got cheaper stuff, at some point the water's going to soak through and you're going to get wet. Get something decent, borrow something, whatever you need to do, but rain gear, a top and bottom, pant and jacket, is going to be a smart thing to have, especially if you're doing something coastal like I did. Rain is definitely going to be a possibility, but it's something that you can sometimes avoid, although I don't recommend not leaving with rain gear. But if you know the weather's going to be good for the foreseeable future, the forecast looks amazing, you can worry less about rain gear, but in most situations, it's something you're going to want to invest in and have with you all the time. Water systems. So we went into detail on this a couple episodes back. I have the Katadyn Hiker Pro. I think I bought that. Actually, I know I did for that very first backpack trip, and that's going way back now, like 10 years. And I still have it. It still works amazing. Kelly just bought one, and I think Garrett is going to get one too. But you can also get tablets that you can drop into your water. There's UV filter lights. They're quite expensive. I think that actually might be my next purchase. I've been keeping an eye on them. All you have to do is dip them into your water bottle and turn it on, and apparently it kills everything in there. So interesting. The tablets I've always kind of felt weird about. I just feel like you're putting a bunch of chemicals and shit into your water. Don't love that. We're pretty lucky in British Columbia. Most of the water, as long as the running water is going to be clean and drinkable, even without a filter, but we always filter it anyways. You don't want to get the shits while you're out there. That's going to make for a terrible trip. For cooking gear, again, we'll go into a detailed episode on this, but you can get away with cooking on a fire. If you have a small pot that you can bring with you, something lightweight, you can still boil water on a campfire. But if you can get yourself a small backpack stove, that's going to be great. Obviously, you're going to need to bring a lighter, your pot, and I would just bring dehydrated meals for your first trip. Easy. All you have to do, again, is just boil water, pour it in there, and seal it up and wait. And your lunch, breakfast, or dinner is ready. And then you can get dried fruit, all those kinds of things. Again, we went into detail on that, and we'll go into some more detail on meals. So do your research on cooking gear and meals. That's a whole episode in itself. But you don't have to overcomplicate it. Just make sure you have enough to replace all the calories that you're going to be burning, because you're going to be burning a lot more than you usually do on a backpacking trip. Obviously, you need your safety basics, your first aid kit, headlamp, knife, even a whistle is a good thing to have. A lot of backpacks actually have a whistle built into the latch on your chest strap. So that's a good thing to have with you if you get lost. If you get hurt, you just start blasting on that whistle and someone's going to find you eventually, hopefully. But we will do, again, an episode on safety type things too. So you can look forward to that, but do your research. Something like a Zoleo, even though they're a sponsor, that is something that I do not leave without anymore. And especially for your first time backpacking, your family and your loved ones are going to want to know if you're okay. And it's just nice to say, hey, yep, going good. Check in. Here's our camp. We'll check in tomorrow. You don't need to be a slave to your phone while you're out there. That's the last thing you want to do. But it's just good to know that you have something with you that allow you to get help if you get into a shitty situation. And you'll be able to let all of your family know that you're safe and sound. So, what should you expect from your first backpack trip? Well, I think the main thing is to have yourself prepared for the physical and mental challenges of a backpack trip. I remember, the first, let's say, 3 days of that backpack trip, I was, in my element. I was feeling good. The pack felt a bit heavy, but you push through it and you're excited to be out there and enjoying the scenery and you're meeting people and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if it was the fourth or fifth day, my pack just wasn't feeling right. I didn't put things in there the right way. I think I had all of the weight in the bottom of my pack and it was hurting my back and it was rubbing funny and I was completely miserable and I didn't want to be and I just didn't know how to get myself out of that funk. And eventually you eat some food, you relax, you try and adjust your pack and move things around and you're going to get yourself back on track and you're going to feel good. But it's important to know that you might go through some of those swings in attitude and mental struggles are a real thing and something that you need to push through as best as you can. So that it's good to communicate with whoever you're with and say, you know what, like I don't know what's going on. This day just does not feel good. I'm sorry if I'm being a miserable asshole, but we might need to take it a little slower today. I might need to put my pack down more than I have been. But yeah, communicate with people and let them know how you're feeling. If you need to, swap some weight with your partner, maybe you're a little weighed down more than they are and it's affecting your ability out there, then that's a conversation you can have. But be prepared for that. And there's also things like, blisters and bad weather and sore shoulders. It's all part of it. But being prepared with things like moleskin for blisters and having footwear that's already been broken in. Those are all ways that you can sort of mitigate or avoid a lot of these situations. So something to keep in mind. For people who have not done a lot of like true backpack trips where you're out in the backcountry, sometimes the solitude and the quiet of it can be not overwhelming, but sort of surprising. And less so if you're with somebody, but I've done some solo backcountry trips, just me and my dog. And I found myself kind of losing my mind a little bit. You don't have anybody to talk to. So it's nice, but it's very different. It takes a little bit to kind of step into that world from being super busy and living in a city or whatever to being out there in complete quiet and you can hear every little crack in the bushes and you're wondering what's around you and all that kind of stuff. But something that, you might not expect, just the contrast of everyday life to, the complete quiet of the backcountry is something totally different. And you will get used to it. It will only take a couple of days and then you're never going to want to leave. You also have to be prepared for things that might fail or you might forget something. And just being able to work around whatever that situation might be. If you forgot tent poles or something, well, you might be in a bit of trouble. But if you brought some rope with you, perhaps you can rig something up and tie your tent top to a tree and I don't know, get creative. But sometimes being creative is the thing that's going to get you through difficult situations in the backcountry. But just knowing that things might go wrong is something that you should, expect and be prepared for. And over time, there's going to be less and less problems as you get more and more prepared. As far as forgetting things, I can't remember anything catastrophic that I left behind. But over all these years of doing this, I have a list. And I use this. I've got one for just a backpack trip for fun, just for camping. And then ones that I have for hunting specific. Obviously, they're two, similar but very different lists. And what I do is I have all my stuff in Rubbermaid bins. It's somewhat organized. Actually, I need to go through and kind of reorganize things. But I'll look at my list, and as I put things into my backpack, I check them off on my phone. So you can in your notes, you can do the checklist, and it's very helpful for this. So as soon as something goes into my bag, check it off. On the next thing, put that together, check into my backpack. So I can look at that. I can look at my full backpack and be 100% sure that everything on the list has made it into my pack. So smart thing to do, kind of a simple and obvious, suggestion, but something you might not think of. And you can keep refining and improving that list, adding, removing things as you go out more and more. But it's a smart thing to do. And if you're, going out for the first time and you don't have a list to work with, if you go to like an REI or a Mountain Equipment Co-op website, they actually often have like a sample list of everything you need. So just do a Google search, backpack gear list. I mean, simple as that. Google that, and you should start finding things very easily. So just some final tips. Just remember, you don't need the best gear. Buy as much stuff as you can used, as long as it's clean and it's been well taken care of. Don't overthink things too much. It's easy to do. It's kind of easy to overwhelm yourself when you're going out with, just a backpack. And, be prepared for the worst. So be safe. Be safe, and just understand that this first trip won't be perfect. But over time, you're gonna develop routines, and you're gonna get more and more familiar with your equipment. And that's actually one thing I meant to touch on earlier, is learn how to use everything you have. If it's a new tent that you've never used before, set it up in your backyard, or go to a park or whatever and set it up, tear it down, set it up, tear it down. Get really familiar with it. The more you sort of get into a rhythm, the easier it's going to be when you're in the backcountry. So, picture yourself in your backyard. It's a very nice day and there's no wind. And then picture yourself in the backcountry when a storm has rolled in, the wind is blowing, rain is on its way. You got to rush. If you never set this tent up, it's going to be a nightmare, and you're going to be a little upset with the situation. Same thing with all your cook gear. I mean, use it. You cook a meal on your deck using just your backpacking equipment. Make a dehydrated meal. Have some fun with it. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be something that's a pain in the ass, but the more preparation and the more familiar you are with all of the stuff that you have, the more fun you're going to have when you get out there, because everything's going to be familiar and you're going to know how to use it. And you don't want to, especially if you're buying some used gear, you're going to want to make sure nothing's broken or nothing's missing. Sometimes the smallest little thing can be the item that ruins your trip, like a tent pole. So check all that stuff, make sure everything's working, have some fun with it. But I think that's it, man. This is just a very brief overview. Take some of these points, research them. There's so many good blogs and stuff on the internet now. There was less so when I went out there, but it's so much easier now to find all this information. But if you have questions, by all means, reach out. We'll be happy to elaborate on things a little bit further. These are just quick episodes and meant to be a quick guide to getting you out there for the first time. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Info at the Rookie Hunter, that's where you can find us. Thanks, guys. Cheers. There you go. Episode 175. I think I got a lot of it. I'm sure there's some things I could add. If there's very important things I missed, please send us an email, info@therookihunter.com. That's where you can reach us. We would love to have feedback on these episodes. There's lots to cover, and we're just trying to make these a simple overview that more so inspires you to do more research. So more of these to come. These will all be labeled as field guides, and we'll label other episodes accordingly. They're interviews or just a hang between the three of us. So it all makes sense. And if you're interested in these field guides, you can look forward to them and see them easily in our episode guides. So anyways, we'll keep these rolling, and we'll be back soon. Cheers.